Hey everybody, so it's our fifth Sunday together, and it feels a little bit, or a lot of it, I should say, heavier than it has. I've already had quite a few people message me today and say that they wanted to come on, but they don't want to be on video. They don't feel like they can be seen, so I get that. So we're gonna give it a couple of minutes before like really dive into some stuff. But yeah, we're here. So we have Carrie and Jeannie on, Jordan, Katie, hi. Sheena, hi. So I need to take a breath, and I'm gonna ask you to take a breath with me. Really deep breath in. Big exhale through the mouth. Good. So when we do meditation, you know, when we start talking about that breath work, I usually tell people to take a breath. Can't speak, I apologize in advance. To exhale through the mouth for the first at least 3 times, just to get that excess energy out. And that could be happy energy, that could be really crummy energy too. So we're just releasing it a little extra. And that's why we take big sighs all the time. So, hey Kim. So normally I'm all like shiny and happy. And it's not because I wasn't upset by pandemic stuff. But I guess the big deal is that I, like many of you, can feel everything that's going on right now. So maybe you've noticed that, like after we spoke last week, hey Therese, hold on a second. Hi Lisa, I'm seeing like multiple people sign on right now. Hey Mary. One of my clients is like, I can't get on. All right, let's see if I can help her while doing this. So basically, you know, if you're a person of any type of sensitivity, like we always use the big word empath, which means that it's not that you're more sensitive, it's that you're more aware of your sensitivities, and therefore you're more subject to it. So it's like those are the people that, you know, have a hard time going out into big crowds, or just know that they're uncomfortable with certain things. So here's the deal. Even if you're not going out in a big crowd right now, high quarantine, you're still subject to the way the world feels, because you're in touch on some major level with that type of connection, which is awesome. You know, the truth is it's really awesome. That's how connected we are. Hey Heidi. The deal is that right now, it doesn't feel good. Because the truth is that when we grieve, we don't grieve alone. There is never one time in your life that you'll actually grieve alone. It will feel like that. It will feel like you're very alone. It will feel like you're completely maybe not taken care of in some instances, or just people don't understand, or they stop asking how you are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to look a certain way. The truth is that grieving happens at different points. You know, even when you lose somebody, it doesn't stop at a certain time. It doesn't go like, oh, it's been a month, it's been 6 weeks, it's been 6 months, it's been 4 years, it's been 20 years. It doesn't stop. So now when we're in this monumental state of like accruance, where, remember last week we were talking about that big wave, and yeah, well here it is, like we kind of felt it coming, and here is this even bigger wave. And I'm just going to quickly review Breathwa, so we can remind people who, or teach people who weren't listening. So Breathwa is breathe, relax, feel, watch, allow. And you can review last week's video to catch up on that. But just breathe, relax, feel, watch, allow. So that's basically talking about this enormous wave. And this week is more, it feels like a tsunami. So to get through this with grace, like we go back to that Breathwa. Right now, the world is in a reactionary state. So regardless of your politics, regardless of your feelings, regardless of what you think should be done or shouldn't be done, Breathwa is a guidance on how to just brave through everything. And it seems so simplistic, but when you're faced with something like this feeling that I know I'm not alone in, that's why we practice all the time. It doesn't stop. We have to keep practicing, because then we have something like this where we're just feeling it. And even if you're not in it, even if you're not protesting, even if your skin is a certain color or not a certain color, the truth is that like you're going to be affected by everything that's going on. There's always consequential actions. My biggest thing is that I hope that by becoming more aware of just everything in general, like becoming more aware of how to be kind to somebody, becoming more aware of how to be thoughtful, becoming more aware of how to speak to each other, that it won't be so reactionary, that we can learn to be better, that we can learn how to treat each other differently. I'm like really trying not to cry. Sorry. Sorry, guys. So part of what I want to talk about right now is choice. This is like a heavy one. I have people signing in for the first time tonight, and it's probably the heaviest one we've done. Well, it's definitely the heaviest one we've done. Choice. Every day, every moment, every breath that you take, you have a choice. You have choice of what to do, of how to be. You have a choice to go through with your actions, to judge your thoughts, to just let them fly. You have a choice of love and how to love. Every moment. And it will never bring you to 100% of any perfection. Because the truth is that there is no way of being perfect. There is no, we're humans, and we are supposed to make mistakes. Mistakes are supposed to be there so that we can learn, so that we can grow. So I know I shouldn't apologize for crying. It's just like a reaction to that too, right? Like it's a knee-jerk reaction to apologize. But, so that choice has to carry through to everything. Your choice is a consistent thing. So, through my day, I'm definitely not always happy. I'm definitely not always my best version. I'm definitely not always kind. Not even necessarily kind to my kids. Maybe I'm not like sensitive to them. Maybe I'm frustrated. I'm probably less kind to myself a lot. But it's a constant choice to like come back. I always say in the next breath, in the next breath, in the next breath. If you can't come back in that next breath, is it okay? Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Why is it okay? Because it has to be. Because nobody can just glide along in their life feeling like, oh, I'm always going to be 100% the best. I'm always going to be the kindest person, the most thoughtful, the smartest, the whatever. It's a practice. And your authenticity is always going to shine through. Now, here's the thing with social media. Like, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are here. You're on. You're trying. You're trying. You're trying. And that's the key to everything, is like just keep trying. Trying to be present. Trying to acknowledge that, we can do better. We're going to work on it. Without digressing, like when people say thoughts and prayers aren't enough, stop, and they get angry about thoughts and prayers. Like, why waste your energy? Don't get angry about thoughts and prayers. Ask us to do actions. We have to ask each other, like, listen, do you want to go to this? Oh, you don't want to go to this? That's fine. Do you want to do this? No, you don't want to do this. That's fine. Hey, can you write to somebody? Like, you have to come up with these choices so that everybody can participate. If you're too stuck on being angry at the people that are giving love, you're only going to hurt everybody else. So forget about that. That's my advice. You can do whatever you want. Forget about that. Give everyone some choices. When you do your posts, if you're going to be on social media and stuff like that, that's another choice. Here are these big choices to be on social media. We want to feel connected to each other, right? It can be a huge help. It could also be incredibly damaging. Facebook especially has my feelings had never been this down before. It's never been COVID, death, vaccination, not going to work, this is going to work, all this is going to work, you're going to be forced, people are dying, black people are discriminated, everything's like wrong, everything is wrong. And
I stopped watching the news.
Mary's saying she stopped watching the news.
I don't even know what's going on in the world. I know there are helicopters like hovering around
So
Brooklyn. Because
Mary's in Brooklyn, just so you know, my friend
I'm like
Mary.
a 10-minute walk away from the Barclays. So I'm knee deep in it, you know? Like, so, but I have found, I just
Hope you guys can hear her.
To
say hi.
So, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, but yeah, I think sometimes you have to kind of detox from social media, and I'm terrible because I'm addicted to it. You know, I think a lot of people are. So, but there is a point you got to turn it off, or at least find something that's a little bit more healing. There's so many Facebook groups out there that are very supportive, like Idealist of the World. They're really great. They try to keep it where you are the helper, you know, like, the Mr. Rogers neighborhood, you always look for the helpers, you know. So, so there's that. There's, I started going on Udemy and looking at the life coach practices for myself. A ton of things. Like maybe I should share it, but I'm really kind of, at the moment, I left my job, and the last day was the day that we went on lockdown. I was supposed to start at a new job at the CUNY schools, and then they locked those down too. So I mean, luckily, my husband has a pretty good job, but he's stressed out. He's an attorney, he has to work from home. I can't even tell you how crazy difficult that is in 650 room, like feet of
right,
space.
not a big enough space.
So getting grounded, like just sharing ideas of how to get grounded, connecting, I think is important. And I know a lot of people want to do something about what's going on in the news. And I just really have a hard time wrapping my mind around violence being the
answer.
And,
all right.
I think the media fixates on it, and my husband calls it tragic porn, that we're addicted to tragic situations, and that's why they keep feeding us.
So let me interrupt you for a second, because I don't want to get my brain's going in one line. And like, I'm trying not to be like, give my opinion on everything too much, because I want this to be pretty universal, people. No, it's okay. I totally appreciate it. And you're like right in the middle of all that craziness. So it's very easy for people like living in a, non-happening area.
Like chill. Like, I mean, Brooklyn is like, I don't know, it's bipolar.
Crazy right now.
Like we got the protests on one hand, and then everyone's like out with a margarita on the next, so I don't, it's not everything that the news is showing. Like, we're not constantly on fire. Like
but it feels like that. It feels like everything's constantly on fire. All right, so let me just get back to, like, when you're choosing these posts, okay? So when you're choosing these posts, like, number one, and this is, like, pretty common sense, but the truth is we mostly don't do it because we just, like, instantly click on stuff. You have to choose, like, what you're going to post, right? So you can have the choice of posting really happy stuff, benign things. I always say, like, the benign things are the ones that make you feel like, all right, like, whatever. It's not fantastic. It's not great, whatever. I'm not saying don't post political, but I'm saying that you need to fact check. And you also have to know your audience. So I think it was 2 weeks ago I spoke about intent and how strong your intent is. Your intention is so strong. It's so strong that you can speak one set of words and really mean the other, and the other people will know what you mean, right? Like, I always do this nice thing of, like, Princess Bride, he says, as you wish. She knows he's saying, I love you, right? That's how strong our intent is. So when you post something, ask yourself, before you post it, what is my intention here? Because every time you do it, every time you post something that has, explosive imagery, explosive this, you need to know, what are you trying to tell people? And I don't mean to always post good things. I just mean know what you're trying to be doing, because your post, seemingly nothing, goes into this great algorithm and if Facebook likes that algorithm, it goes high on the watch, and every time somebody comments or likes it or whatever, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So now you have so many people watching and so many people doing this, and it starts to chip away after a while. And this is the problem here. It's not to not be informed, it's to really be choosing a little bit more of what's going on, because ultimately what you share is what you're putting out there a lot. So if you have people that you know are very interested in the subject, or you know are going to be helpful with something, and you fact checked, right? Absolutely, by all means, go figure it out. Like, say, I know you would love this, or maybe you're passionate about this, let's talk about it. I'm just asking you to pause, because every time you post something, we're all watching, we're all scrolling, and we're all going, oh my God, I really can't breathe. Now I can't breathe. Now you can't breathe. And nobody else can breathe. And it's just not good. It's not helpful all the time. So that's all I'm saying about that. It's just to watch your intent. And I'm going to try to bring this up a notch before we start our meditation, because I'm so happy I have some people on here that I haven't seen. So again, take a deep, deep breath with me. Big exhale out. Now, when we talk about holding space, and I'm only going to go into a little bit of it this week, and I think I'll continue with it next week. You've heard the term holding space. And if you haven't, you're hearing it now, right? Holding space. So as we go into these changes that are being called upon, all this stuff is happening. And, why did this just happen? Part of holding space, the biggest part of holding space, is listening. And when we hear somebody talk in a conversation, our instinct is generally to give input almost immediately. And now we're in these like crazy situations, and that's again part of social media, is like you want to instantly give your information, right? Like, I want to say my piece. So if you have somebody you don't necessarily agree with, because the truth is, like, there should be people you don't agree with, otherwise the world would be pretty damn boring. Figure out how to be respectful about it and how to really listen. So ask yourself, is this something that I need to respond to here on Facebook? Is this something, or is this a person that really means a lot to me? Because I keep hearing all these friends getting in fights. It's like, oh my God, don't fight with your friends. Don't fight with your friends. We need each other. Is this somebody I need to call on the phone or talk in person, even social distancing wise? Like, you have to stop and think, how can I bear witness? How can I be of service? And how can I listen? If you have people that are in the center of all this stuff happening, that feel scared for their lives on a daily basis, that have ever felt discriminated against. I mean, as a woman, I've felt it in fearful places. I've been in situations that were horribly scary. So I get it, maybe not the same as other people would, but I do understand. How can I listen to them? You may not always agree, but you can listen. And to bear witness and to hold space for somebody is probably one of the greatest things you can ever learn how to do. To sit with somebody or listen to them without giving your input. To just breathe with them. Literally breathe with them. And if they're saying something that you don't like or you don't get or you don't agree with, breathe again. Keep breathing. Because this is going to change your life. People need to feel heard. They need to feel like they have space to release. You know, earlier on this, I teared up, I cried a little bit, and like, you guys were all quiet, even on Zoom. You just let me do it. That's part of holding space. So you're going to hear me say that a lot of times, and I'm going to talk more and more about what holding space means. But for this week, we're only going to talk about the pause. Instead of gathering your information as they're speaking and thinking about what you're going to say next. And this includes on posts, right? You read all their stuff and now you've decided, I'm going to blurt out this giant diatribe and see what happens. Maybe just let it sit. And if you really care about that person, say, hey, I saw what you wrote. Do you need to talk? I won't say anything. I can just listen. And see what happens. That's my experiment for the week. See if you can do that a little bit in your life, in your daily everything. whether it's on Facebook, whether it's just talking to somebody on the phone, because we really need each other. We really do, guys. And you have to figure it out. And the other secret, that's not really a secret, but people think it is that everybody communicates differently. Every single individual has their own communication style, which means that their needs are different than everyone else's, because you have a story that is not mine. You have a background that is not mine. You grew up differently than I did, even if you think it's pretty similar. So your communication needs are way different than mine, which means those people that you're close to that you think you know so well, guaranteed there's another level to it. Like even your partners, I bet, especially in a small apartment, right, Mary? I bet you're going to be challenged where you have to go, oh, I didn't think maybe he needs more space and I have to go do something else. You know, we have to figure these things out because we want to be happy. Hopefully the ultimate goal is to be happy and not to be, you know, crumbling and feeling like you're on fire. So that's what I'm asking for you guys this week. And I feel like you can do it. I feel like I can do it. I feel like it's never going to be perfect, and that's okay. Sorry, I'm typing in a password at the same time. Okay. How's everybody feeling? We didn't do our check-in today because that was a little bit of a mess too. So, you know, we have all these crazy things going on all the time, and then at some points it just starts to feel like a lot. And that's what it was like for me and so many this week. A lot. And now people are screaming to be heard, and we don't have to agree with anything. We don't have to agree on what we think of it. But what we do need to do is be there for each other, and that includes the people that are having a difficult time figuring out how to be peaceful. We have to be there for everyone. So remember when I said it, like the first meditation is that when we do prayers and meditation, even though our human self wants to say, well, F that person, that person stinks, and that person's like this, you have to get outside of the human head, and you need to go with the heart and say, okay, I pray for all people, everyone, not just the people that I like in my human life. I pray for everyone so that they can gain higher consciousness, so that they can gain peace, so that we can all be in peace. So that's another thing you're going to hear me repeat. It's not just the people you like. And while that's harder to do in our daily conversations, it's pretty easy to do when you do meditation, actually, because you have to get outside of your body a little bit and start to express your energy a little differently. So that's what's going on today. And I'll get back to my bubbly self at some point, but I'm riding the wave just like everybody else. And now I have to deal with technology stuff because my other computer, the other device, just went to a password mode that I don't know it. That's okay. I'll have to ask Bill for assistance. See, I'm guessing my husband's password and you feel like I should know it, right? Did anybody do Ujjayi breath this week? Anybody that wants to give me a thumbs up on that? I'll wait. Who looked? Nobody. Okay. Hey, Renee, can you text Bill and ask him to give me his password? Okay, so then nobody did their homework. That's fine. I love you all still.
Do you know what password you're talking about?
Yes. I feel like I'm typing it in right, but it's not happening. Is this
for this Zoom meeting?
No, it's for Facebook.
Since I have it in front of me.
No, it's not Zoom. It's his computer because I have to put the meditation on.
Okay.
Anyway, we're just common complex, so he must know.
All right.
Here he comes, everybody, on live camera.
Hello. How you doing, everybody?
This is my husband's head. This is the